So apologize for that ahead of time. But we've got 2 of these from one unexpectedly. This is basically this ATP cretinol serum. Is nothing but ginseng. We put a couple of those every few hours. And sublingual. Let it rest for a minute. I still have it under my tongue. Stay under there for about a good minute. And what I'm doing is I unexpectedly got this protein here, which has got 1 gram of sugar per serving. And I'm going to, even though I have all the provisions, I'm also doing this collagen at least 2 or 3 times a day. And I'm seeing some great benefits. But this is a rare opportunity for me to do something that's very difficult that I talk about doing and that I've done in the past on this channel. But I did it in more formative and earlier stages of compared to where I am now, in a total temporal physical sense of me weighing 158 pounds. Even though my waist is 29 inches, there's still a fat and a thickness even around the chest and the abdominal area, to the point where I'm going to do a 7-day all protein fast. And in fact, I am doing the process of continuous training, and this is probably the last week that I will be doing this. So that's why I got to get back to my walk right now. You notice most every single video that I have done on this channel and any other channel, I'm showing you, I'm literally doing this every day, all day, except in the rare instances where my son stays home because he's either sick or he is just relaxing or whatever. And I don't bother him while he's doing whatever he does when he's here. But as soon as he's gone for a few hours or 5 hours, this is what I do. And I take some breaks like you just saw, but with those supplements that I'm currently doing, right, the breaks are fewer and further between. I'm not taking nearly as many breaks as I was, especially when I'm on that ATP, on that ginseng. And the reason that I'm doing the protein this week is because it's something that's very difficult to do. In the past, I would do these long protein fasts for 10 or 12 days where I did nothing but protein powder. And the obvious ramifications is that you slow your metabolism down so much that your metabolic rate is now just crawling, and you're not really, what are you really burning, right? But this is a way to heighten an orthomolecular response. So you're using amino acids to heal your entire system. What does that mean? it means that if you are in this state where you have, high cortisol levels, or like what this supplement does is brings down that homocysteine, which I think works is part and partial to brain histamine, but I can't say that conclusively. But it puts you in this reactive mediated amino acid mediated state of an excitatory response. It isn't like the theanine and the glycine. Like the glycine ends it, right? And even more so, what we see that in blood work is low serine levels, right? And it's been linked, that supplement, show you that one more time, has been linked to reducing, and you can't promise anything because everyone is in a slightly different, from their genetics to so many other, I believe that exercise is the mediating factor or force to making these amino acids go to work. I think what Billy J. Saley and Heal with Amino Acids and Micronutrients or Nutrients was all about had to do with, like what I did is when I read her book, I did just protein fasting, and I used to see amazing results in my early 30s, mid 30s. Once you get this metabolic slowdown and you are going through metabolic dysfunction, right? Metabolic syndrome, all sorts of different issues. I think that it can be changed so rapidly, but there's like this cathartic aspect to it, right? I like to use the term that's a little more esoteric is metanoia. It's like you have to create this radical transformation. There has to be a catalyzing agent. So I've got, this is a rare time where I have the place to do what I'm doing. I have all the supplements. I have all the food. And what I'm doing is in the past, I would go into these long protein fasts, but I did not realize, even though I had done it and thought I refuted the whole ketogenic aspect to the protein fasting. In other words, I would come off a protein fast and I would gorge on carbohydrates. Now, my combative caveat to that was I get to eat all the carbohydrates I want to. It's just going to increase my metabolic function. And I didn't realize I was shooting myself in the foot, right? I used it more in terms of the athletes, the sports nutritionists, super compensation, right? I treated everything as an event. I'd push myself further and further. I got super lean, but there was always a little something there. And the only time where I saw the skin on the lower abdominals get thinner than the skin on the back of my hand. And that's what we're going for here. So I showed you the construct of how you get to an amazing shape without ever sweating, right? Putting that sweat equity in. How I got here to 158 pounds, just ate 3,500 calories yesterday. If that's enough for you, you can get in phenomenal shape, right? You can get down to an ultra low body weight. You can do it easily, just through practical application. So you walk, do a little resistance training, but mainly sticking on carnivore. That's it. And I never realized in the past the power to that. So the reason for doing this video right here is to tell you that I've taken it as far as I could, even though the waist keeps shrinking and shrinking away, and I keep changing dimensions, I still have the same pocketed fat in the areas that I did when I started doing this last year, and I weighed 240 pounds. Like I'm literally 80 plus pounds down, right? And I got the same issues, same obfuscating fat in the same areas. Now, there's not much of it, but the body's clinging on to it. And the way that I would do this in the past is I would go on to an all protein. We've got all the water, more water coming tomorrow. Um, and what I did just now is I had 2 boxes of beef 32 patties, which that Walmart beef is amazing. It tastes great. At first, it was a little suspect to me, but yeah, that's good stuff. And it's great to be able to be on carnivore on that beef and to not, just be relying on eggs and cheese and things that are a little more like fringe carnivore, right? So what I'm doing is when I go back after 7 days of doing this, what is it? Today is Friday. So next Friday, I'm going to come off of an all protein fast. I'm living on protein. I have 4 pounds of protein available to me. Wasn't something that I thought I was going to have access to, that much protein. So I'm living on the orthomolecular nutrition plan. I have all the vitamins, I have all the minerals that I need. I have all the catalyzing agents, i.e., the ATP plus, the glycine supplement, the ATG or TMG. I don't know why I wrote ATG, ATP. I don't know. So I've got all that available to me. So I'm going to be doing an entire week long, and I'm not cutting back on my walking at all. I've gotten to a stalemate with my training where I just don't feel motivated. I don't feel like doing resistance training. It's extremely odd because I'm waking up my adrenals, right? I'm going into a heightened state of alertness. I'm increasing my metabolic function. I'm able to get through 10 miles a day of walking, but I'm just having, for some reason, a hard time. And it's working part and parcel to the fact that I don't have any stored glycogen. So I'm having to do, like I say, a cathartic radical transformation of I got to change something inside, the internal workings inside. And so in order to get myself back on track, so next week in that fasted state, I'm going to show a 27.5 to 28-inch waist measurement at 6 feet tall. And that is going to be the catalyzing agent. And then when I come off of it, I'm going to have about 14 pounds of hamburger meat waiting for me. I won't be starving. A shit ton of water. All the provisions that I could ask for, as I said. I'm going to order a little bit more collagen. And next Friday, if I can make it to Saturday, even better, 7 days solid, I'm going to have my first meal, and that will be the custard, 3-egg custard with protein powder. So we're just kind of like sliding back into the ketogenic carnivore aspect. And then my next meal will be 3 hamburger patties. And what I'm expecting to happen is that my metabolism is just going to go into high velocity cranking, where it's still looking for the carbohydrates. It can't find it. So what's going to happen is a radical metabolic shift that results in hormone production of more T3, more thyroid hormone. And all the while, I'm taking Tongkat Ali and another formula of Tongkat Ali with Tribulus. So I'm taking everything that's going to heighten the supportive aspect of this orthomolecular plan, major healing plan, and I'm taking all the vitamins and all the minerals in at the same time. I've got my mineral supplement. I've got a high quality multivitamin supplement. I'm alone. There's absolutely no excuses. And like, let's do this thing. I'll report to you next week. So it is right now the 15th of March, 2024. And so I should be coming off of this the 22nd of March, 2024. And I'm hoping to show some very radical, amazing results in my body fat composition, because we don't have a lot of fat on us at the moment, but it is pocketed in strange areas. And being on carnivore, my body is, so every time that I've done something like this where I lose body fat, I never gain back fat on carnivore, right? And I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to regulate my calories better on carnivore, because I've been lazy in the sense of how I've been eating. Like, I'll eat the protein powder ice cream every single night, a lot of times, going through the cream, tons of heavy cream. I will be overdoing the custard. Even though these things are good, I'll eat the custard along with the 1,000 calories from 3, sometimes more, hamburger patties. So, I mean, you're looking at a superfluous gorging, right? You could say, oh, you have every excuse because you're not getting in any carbohydrates and your body needs that satiety. That's all right. And it's like, that's cool on any level, but what I'm doing, which is I'm going after something that I want amazing results. I want very rare, world-class results. That's what I'm going after. And that requires, again, maybe overusing the terms cathartic or metanoia, but that's where the free will, it's an exercise in futility. It's an exercise in free will. It's an exercise in saying, this is the change that I'm going to affect, right? And even more so, it's a tying in and approving of a program that I came up with over 20 years ago. And to say that this isn't ketosis, this isn't carnivore, that the protein, orthomolecular protein fasts to set off autophagy, to radically recomposite how I'm storing fat, and to re-bolster and reset my metabolic functions. And let's not forget about the high amounts of creatine that I'm taking in and the anti-aging effects of the things that I'm doing, from the collagen to the creatine. It's to mobilize, actuate, and expound upon the dramatic effects of these agents so that my body will utilize and use what is available, right? So I've got all the catalyzing agents. I'm taking in the C, the pyridoxine. I'm getting it all in, all the vitamin Bs, everything that my body requires, everything that my body needs, I'm getting in. So we've got those foods waiting for us, right? We've got the hamburger meat, we've got the eggs, we've got the water, we've got the protein powder that we're going to be living off of this week, and let's shoot for huge things. So the first thing that I want to show is that measurement. I want to show my waist next week at 28 inches or lower, drawn in, mind you, and to be able to show you that, yeah, I'm not only back to where I was years ago, but I have functionally beat it, because I'm not waiting for that next carbohydrate meal. I'm no longer a carb addict. I'm no longer in line for, I'm doing this so that I can be appeased eventually. Even if it's weeks down the road, I'm relying on the carbohydrate. Not anymore. the first meals that I will have coming off and the only foods that I will have are carnivore foods. And I never gained weight back on carnivore. Losing in certain areas is very difficult, right? But it happens slowly over time. And you can get done what I'm doing right now on a much slower fashion or scale by just simply sticking to it and reducing your calories, having better calorie control. But let's be honest, let's be real. That's not really the way we work. There's a lot of emotionality, times are turbulent, things are crazy, and I need to stand for more. And I have in the past, and I'm fully trying to expound on and connect what I did in the far distant past, what I preached, what was the mainstay, which is really saying, look at Billie J. Saley. She understood a lot on the President's Council for Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder that you can heal anything if you have the free will and the fortitude to go on an all-protein fast, a high-quality protein isolate fast, and taking in. So what I'll be doing is I will be pre-preparing at least 8 to 10 scoops of protein powder, and I will be keeping that in the refrigerator and sifting that almost like I'm on a drip system, as if I'm in the hospital on an amino acid drip system. And I realized that, you'd have to get closer toward the lower molecular weights, the Daltons, and to take in more hydrolyzed proteins. And I've done that type of thing in the past. But what you got to understand is your body still has to metabolize something. There has to be kind of a, I'm not going to say, if you were to expound on this even more, and you were to say that casein was the very thing that made that statement that I just made more extreme, and that is the metabolism has to be involved. You have to feel some sort of satiety, right? So down the road, when coming off of something like this, I would do more casein-based type proteins, even things like, non-fat or low-fat cottage cheese, stuff like that, right? Well, now being on carnivore, I'm using cheese, I'm using eggs, and I'm using beef as the metabolic goal and the metabolic function to be able to return back to a homeostasis or a steady state. In other words, you tell your body that's all that's available, that's all you've got. And so the end result is, from a metabolic sense, is that at that lower body fat, with that high level of conditioning, with that recomposite, with the heightened state of excitatory neurotransmitters, i.e. amino acids, and through that functionality, never doing anything that's going to stop the metabolic function, right? That's going to work as a buffering agent, i.e. carbohydrates, that I'm going to be getting even more out of the carnivore diet than I would have if I just stayed steady state on it and allowed these slow attributions to take place, right? I'm not allowing myself to sink back in to a comfort zone. So this is about breaking the comfort